no, in the 12th chapter, 27th verse. The Lord told us that if we come unto Him and we want to become humble, that He will show us our weaknesses, and through our weaknesses that we can become strong. Now, a weakness in this respect refers more to adversity. And so He's going to give us trials and adversity to strengthen us. And as you recall what our Father in Heaven told Adam and Eve when they were leaving the garden, that He was going to not make it so easy. He said that the mothers would be given their having childbirth with difficulty, and that Adam would have to pursue his life with vigor, but yet there were going to be obstacles put in his way, that when we wanted to grow something, He was going to put thistles and weeds to torment us. Now you can think, why would Heavenly Father want to torment us? What kind of a loving parent would want to torment us? You know, my daughter will tell you that I'd have Saturday morning, we'd work for 4 hours from 8 to noon every Saturday, and I had this chainsaw, and I would go out and wreak havoc with my chainsaw, and they called me the Chainsaw Massacre Father, and then the kids would go get their mother and say, take the chainsaw away from Dad, because I was creating this pile of debris with my chainsaw, and I'd be smiling as I did it, you know. And we had a chicken coop that we had our own eggs. We raised chickens, and I'd have them go out and clean the chicken coop, and I'd smile, and they really dreaded having to do these chores on Saturday. But the things that they remember now, and I remember talking with Susie about the things she remembers. She remembers working together with her dad and doing these different chores, because that's how we grow is through overcoming adversity. And so we think of Heavenly Father wanting to torment us. He really doesn't. He just wants us to grow and to learn and to become better. And so that's why he if we're willing to learn, that's what it means to be humble. If we want to learn and be humble, then He's going to give us adversity, because you're not going to learn if things go easy. So does anybody have their life easy? Raise your hand if life is easy. There's not very many of you raising your hand. You know, it's a joy, as Paul says in I'm trying to think of the book now. He says that I rejoice in being persecuted for the Lord's sake. You know, and so if you think about it, what kind of person would want to be persecuted? But the fact that sacrificing himself was what was at the heart of being a good member of the church. He rejoiced in that, to be able to overcome trials and tribulations. So in order for us to be disciplined, we have to exercise self-control, and self-control really, if we think about that, is just. I hope my thing came up. Did the next slide come up? It's really likened to patience. I think I'm where I'm supposed to be. I have a vision problem. It's a related characteristic is patience. Patience, and we've heard this a lot, you know, that we must learn patience. And patience really is the ability to endure without complaining. I got tested. It's interesting that I was going to give this talk, and I was biting my tongue and stamping on my foot last evening. I was in Baltimore after visiting with a number of investors, and it was a tiring day. I had to drove from Baltimore to Delaware and back. Only, that's an hour each way, and then I found out that the plane that if you got time to spare, fly U.S. Air. So anyway, I got to the airport and found my plane was 2 hours late. That means we were going to miss our connection in Charlotte to fly to Roanoke, and my wife kept saying, "Patience, my son." As I'm thinking, wow, I got to give this talk, and it's to endure without complaining, and I'm thinking, boy, how am I going to do this? We got in at just before 2 this morning, so you can imagine that I had to endure a lot. Anyway, so the key to self-control is to overcome our emotions, and not to become too frustrated, to be able to deal with adversity, with knowing that this is what Heavenly Father had really in mind for us anyway, and not to become too despondent as we exercise control. And for those of you who have never had to exercise self-control, I commend you. I think it's fantastic. But in my 70-plus years here in mortality, having to overcome adversity has been a way of life for me. I don't think any of us have had life easy and have not been frustrated, because frustration is what minimizes our ability to be efficient. So I'd like to talk about there's 4 stages that we go through. And this talk, to some degree, was meant for the business students. Do we have any business students here? Oh, not very many of you. But anyway, so this is apply these next principles as you think about your life, as opposed to just to being in business. But all of you will go. Well, how many plan on going to work after they graduate? Okay, good. Well, at least some of you are going to go to work. And so you're going to go through 4 stages. The first stage that we go through is called, is this up? Yeah. Okay. It's called the eager neophyte. The eager neophyte is that once you graduate from college and you're all enthusiastic and you want to tackle, you're gonna solve the problems of the world. You're gonna be out there making a killing in the marketplace, and you're just gonna really make a name for yourself. But then you find out that after a while, that it's not so easy, because you got the rest of these people out there trying to do the same thing, and it become a very competitive dog-eat-dog environment, and you find out that there's a lot of humdrum to it. You go to work, you go home, back and forth, and becomes quite monotonous. And so then you end up going to the next stage, and that's called the polyp. The polyp is a grain of coral that just becomes a mass of the total, and you say, I'm not going to, knock myself out. Let the rest of those guys, those eager neophytes, let them knock themselves out. I'm going to take it easy. I'm going to spend more time with my family. I'm not going to worry about my job that much, because it wasn't that fulfilling. And so that is the polyp stage, where we just kind of withdraw ourselves. And then the third stage is called the baited bull. And the baited bull is the stage we go through after a while. We get tired of just being an eager neophyte and a polyp. We're back, wanting to solve the problems of the world, and so we start writing sulfurous memos and started really, lambasting those bureaucrats, and you're going to change the system, and so you're really fired up, and you become, a charging bull, and then at some point you find out that's pretty hazardous to your health, because you're either going to get fired or you're going to constantly be having to deal with the results of all your actions. And so after a while, you find out that either you got to change or you're going to die. And so the last stage is referred to as the elder statesman. And the elder statesman is the stage where you finally have learned through being an eager neophyte, a polyp, and a beta bull. You finally learned that how all the game works. You understand the system, and so now you're going to let the system work for you. You use the beta bulls to fight your battles, and you truly you've become matured, and you've learned patience, endurance, discipline, and at that point the system begins to work for you, because now you're truly a leader, and now you're using others and helping them by using your leadership skills. Now, not everybody can make it from the beta bull polyp stage into the elder statesman, and because they flop back and forth between being a beta bull and being a polyp, and never quite get to that elder statesman stage. You can tell these individuals because they're constantly changing jobs or changing their major in school. They can never make up their minds. They're changing relationships, and those individuals are flipping back and forth between being a polyp and being a beta bull. Hopefully at some point, your endurance is there, and you're able to succeed to the next point where you become an elder statesman. Looks like I've moved ahead of myself. Now, what I would recommend that we do if we're going to learn discipline, because discipline is very much like being on an Atkins diet. Anybody ever heard of an Atkins diet? It's a very difficult diet. I mean, it takes a lot of discipline to be on that diet if you want to lose weight. Now, most of you don't have to lose weight because you're still young, but as you get older, you get what they call a pirate ship build. That's where your chest sinks, and it's called a sunken chest. But anyway, the Atkins diet is a very strenuous diet where you have to give up almost everything but eating, it's difficult to stay on it because it's a very restrictive diet, and so it takes a lot of discipline to do it. And so discipline, again, goes back to doing what you don't like doing and doing it well. And so I would suggest that we learn how to focus on doing the tough things first. Is that where I am? Okay. So that's what I do every day. What I do is I focus on taking on those tasks that I don't like doing, and I get them done first. So I organize my day, start out by saying, okay, what is it that I don't want to do, and that's the thing I do first.